Mirror Gem and Ocean Gem are the episodes of Steven Universe that changed the tone of the whole show. Before this episode, there was a light amount of plot, but very little worth digging into, compared to the depths of wild storytelling that would become one of Cartoon Network's most groundbreaking shows. And that shift in tone isn't light either. These episodes set the show up for all the events that follow, and that tonal shift happened due to one character's introduction, Lapis Lazuli. Once Lapis, the first homeworld gem we meet, is introduced, the story opens up to a whole new world of possibilities. The first thing we see on full display is that homeworld gems aren't going to be friendly to the main cast. While Lapis's attack on the crystal gems was justified, considering Pearl kept her sealed in a mirror, it is also a good way of showing that not all gems they encounter will be friendly, and throughout the series, almost none were. In her flashback to the Gem War later in the show, as well as other characters recounting events from the Gem War, we see and understand why she isn't exactly keen on being friendly with other gems, especially when they're identifiable as crystal gems, the side that defected from Homeworld, and she, at this time in the story, is loyal to Homeworld and wants to go back. Later on in the series, we also see that she was poofed by a gem that looks exactly like our bismuth, and was put in a mirror to be used as a tool to get information she didn't have, then was discarded, causing her gem to get cracked, later to be found by Pearl and kept in her forehead for centuries. Also, it's kinda crazy that gems can confine other living creatures inside of their gems. How was that glossed over for so long? Lapis's initial aggression towards the crystal gems was a precursor to what was to come from other homeworld gems like Jasper, Peridot, the Diamonds, and any other homeworld gem we encounter throughout the show. The interesting thing about Lapis though was that she was more mad about her circumstances for why she's still on Earth, being because she was imprisoned in a mirror, than she was that the gems that she was facing were the crystal gems. That frustration over being imprisoned and others using her as a tool is what leads into her character arc throughout the series, a character constantly being used by others for their benefit, but I'll come back to that in a moment. Lapis's introduction is also accompanied by several heavy lore bombs, specifically about the corrupted gems, a minor amount of foreshadowing in regards to the Gem War and Homeworld gems, as well as sets up the threats looming overhead for the main cast. Lapis coming into the story is what prompted Steven to question why they're fighting another gem, leading to Pearl revealing the bombshell that they've been fighting gems the whole time, confirming one of the first theories from the early days of the fandom. But more than confirming a theory, we also get the explanation for why they have to be poofed and bubbled. They're gems that have lost their sense of self, living in pain, and must be stopped so they don't hurt themselves or others. Lapis is also the catalyst for the events of Wailing Stone, The Return, and Jailbreak, all of which are pivotal episodes for the events of the rest of the show, making Mirror Gem and Ocean Gem Steven Universe's equivalent to Adventure Time's Mortal Folly and Mortal Recoil, or Gravity Falls' Dreamscapers, in that these episodes mark a tonal shift from what came before, and the show's starting to go down a more consistently lore-driven direction, taking itself more seriously. Lapis also demonstrated that there were gems that could take on the crystal gems with minimal difficulty, because she was capable of doing so with a cracked gem, something we've seen can render a gem incapable of basic function, and we do know that her cracked gem was a nerf on her power. So at the time, we could make an educated guess that there are other gems out there that are just as, if not more powerful than her. Lapis Lazulis aren't even mentioned to be combatant gems like rubies or any quartzes, but they are gems designed to terraform planets. She has the power to take and weaponize any source of water, being able to make water clones, constructs like wings and spears, and freezing it to utilize ice as a weapon as well. In future, we see the rogue Lapises throwing pressurized water capable of splitting islands. This gem is dumb levels of powerful, and the thing that proves that is when, while having a cracked gem, she takes the planet's ocean trying to get to Homeworld. Not only was she building a tower of water, she was fighting and beating the crystal gems with water clones. The show showing that a non-combatant gem can match and even surpass the strength of 4 gems, 2 of which are fused, and all of which are plenty battle ready, having fought corrupted gems for hundreds of years, really shows the gravity of the situation the gems will be in if and when Homeworld finds out about them. Eventually, Homeworld would have found out about them. Lapis just expedited it, causing the events of the return and jailbreak. A side note that I want to throw out is that Lapis making her water tower and us getting the perspective from on top looking at the world and looking out into space gave me a new perspective of the show from this point on when I rewatched it after the show ended. Lapis and Steven in space talking on this water tower showed that this show's scale was changing and that we will be dealing with stuff far greater than the scale that we've had up until this point. It's also one of the most beautiful scenes in this series with the more simpler color palette, yet it was drawn and animated perfectly in my opinion, because it was capable of showing the gravity of the situation without having a bunch of extra lines everywhere. Making the most out of a simple drawing takes a lot of skill, one that I'm currently trying to develop. The final thing I want to discuss is Lapis's character arc, because throughout the show, Lapis had one of the more depressing ones. She at no point had control over the circumstances that led her anywhere until the Malachite fusion was forcibly broken by Alexandrite. And even then, there's an argument to be made that she didn't have any control until she came back to fight against the Diamonds, because she still felt imprisoned due to her traumas holding her back. She was constantly fighting for a place in the universe, fighting for control of her own life, fighting to be happy, and spent a lot of time fighting Jasper, and none of those fights ever seemed to go in her favor. The threat of the Diamonds made her flee to the moon. The trauma that she had accumulated prevented her from being truly happy for a long time, causing her to accumulate so much trauma that it's almost crippling. Even as Malachite, Jasper's anger and drive to destroy the crystal gems overpowered her desire to hold her down to protect Steven. The only time she had any amount of control and the power to enforce it, and it was stripped away from her. At the end of the show, she was finally able to have a place in the world alongside Bismuth, Peridot, and Steven. She was constantly running to be safe or was someone's prisoner, even when she was free. When she was freed from the fusion, she was a prisoner to her trauma, and was given a new lease on life when she joined the Crystal Gems, finally being free from all the negative emotions that kept her from experiencing life. Going through events like that, there will be scars that don't heal, and I believe that's why we didn't get to see a Lapis and Peridot fusion. But those events, Lapis overcoming all of them, seems to be why she's the strongest Lapis in the series. If not the strongest gem, because what's a diamond going to do if she drops an entire ocean on them? That much force should shatter any gem with very little difficulty. And to close this out, I want to say that I will be rewatching Steven Universe as well as some other cartoons and anime in the near future, hopefully with a friend or two. And I think I want to do season by season or arc by arc discussions on these shows that I'm so fond of, because that seems like fun. Watching these shows with the perspective of a 20-something-year-old as opposed to a teenager. As for the discussion in this video, do you have anything to add to the topic? Did I miss anything? Is there a character I should look into for the next video on Steven Universe, or maybe another cartoon or an anime? Leave it down below. That's all from me. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.